Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defender, watching the massive ship's holographic display show their approach to the Zephyrian capital. The vessel was humanity's first true battleship, built with technology scavenged from alien wreckage, and human innovation combined in ways that made some Earth scientists nervous. But it was all they had for this first contact mission. Beside him, Ambassador Lisa Grant checked her notes one more time. She was nervous, but tried not to show it. This meeting would decide if Earth would be accepted into the Galactic Council or dismissed as a primitive backwater world. Approaching Zephyria Station, announced Lieutenant Danny Kim from the communications console, receiving welcome transmission. The main screen showed a tall, blue-skinned alien with too many eyes speaking in a language that the ship's universal. Translator quickly converted to English. Earth vessel, you are cleared to dock at Bay 7. Follow the green light indicators. Jake nodded to his helmsman, a young woman named Rachel who had graduated from the Naval Academy only 2 years ago. Take us in, Rachel. Slow and steady. The Defender moved carefully toward the massive space station. It was incredible to see, larger than any human construction ever built. Ships from dozens of different alien species moved around it like fireflies. In the darkness of space, as they docked, Jake felt a slight bump as the airlock connected. He straightened his uniform and looked at Lisa. Ready? As I'll ever be, she replied, though her voice shook slightly. They walked through the corridor toward the meeting room. The walls were made of some material that seemed to shift colors. As they passed, alien crew members of various shapes and sizes moved past them, most stopping to stare at the humans with expressions ranging from curiosity to open disgust. In the meeting room, representatives from 12 different alien species sat around a circular table. Some looked vaguely human, while others were clearly not from the same evolutionary tree. One was a floating blob of green matter that communicated through chemical smells. Another had 6 arms and spoke by clicking stones together. The chairperson was a tall alien named Counselor Vrax, whose snake-like body was covered in silver scales. His voice was smooth, but carried an edge of boredom. Ambassador Grant, Captain Morrison, Vrax said without any real interest. Welcome to the Galactic Council. Please present your petition for membership. Lisa stood and began her prepared speech. Honored representatives, we come before you today, representing the people of Earth. Our world has achieved spaceflight and developed faster than light travel. We have proven our technological capability and our desire to join the greater galactic community. A reptilian alien with sharp teeth laughed loudly. Technological capability. Your ship looks like it was built by children playing with toy blocks. Another representative, a bird-like creature with feathers that changed color, squawked in agreement. Yes, and look at their ambassador. She's so small and fragile. How can such weak beings hope to contribute to our great council? Jake felt his face getting hot, but kept quiet. This was Lisa's show, not his. Our scientists have made great advances, Lisa continued, trying to ignore the laughter. We have developed new forms of energy generation and medical treatments that could benefit all member worlds. Medical treatments. The blob-like alien bubbled with amusement. What could you possibly have that we don't? We have been traveling the stars for millions of years. You appeared yesterday. An insectoid alien with multiple eyes clicked its mandibles. Their ship's energy readings are all wrong. It's like they randomly connected power sources without understanding how they work. It's amazing the thing flies at all. Counselor Vrax raised one scaled hand. Please, let the humans finish their presentation. But the damage was done. Jake could see in the aliens' faces that they had already made up their minds. They saw humans as nothing more than amusing children who had somehow stumbled into space travel. Lisa finished her presentation with dignity, despite the interruptions and mocking comments. When she sat down, Counselor Vrax leaned forward. Earth representatives, after careful consideration of your petition, The Galactic Council has decided that your species is not yet ready for membership. You lack the technological sophistication and cultural development necessary to contribute meaningfully to our organization. The bird-like alien laughed again. Come back in 1,000 years, little humans. Maybe by then you'll have built a ship that doesn't look like it will fall apart in space. Jake stood up, unable to contain himself any longer. With respect, Counselor, we've traveled a long way to be here. At least give us a chance to prove ourselves. The insectoid alien turned toward Jake. Prove yourselves. How? By building better toys. By showing what we can do, Jake replied. Give us a simple test. Something that proves we're capable of being part of this council. Counselor Vrax looked bored. Very well. There is a small asteroid field nearby. Clear it in under an hour using your ship's weapons. A simple task that any member world's smallest patrol craft could accomplish. Jake nodded. We'll do it. Lisa grabbed his arm. Jake, our weapons aren't designed for that kind of work. It could take days. We have to try, he whispered back. They returned to the Defender as the alien representatives watched with expressions of amusement. Some placed bets on how long it would take the humans to give up. On the bridge, Jake called his senior staff together. All right, we have 1 hour to clear that asteroid field, or we're laughed out of the galaxy. Dr. Maria Santos, the ship's chief scientist, looked worried. Captain, our mining lasers could do it, but it would take at least 4 hours. Lieutenant Commander Bill Hayes, the weapons officer, shook his head. Sir, the Council is setting us up to fail. Those asteroids are too large and too numerous. Jake thought for a moment. What if we don't clear them the normal way? What if we use the ship's gravity generators to move them instead of destroying them? Maria's eyes lit up. That might work, if we can create a gravitational field strong enough. We could push the asteroids into a different orbit. Make it happen, Jake ordered. Rachel, plot a course that takes us through the center of the field. Bill, prepare the mining lasers as backup. Everyone else, we're going to show these aliens what Earth ingenuity looks like. As the Defender moved toward the asteroid field, the alien representatives watched from the station. Bets were placed. Snacks were prepared. And the general mood was one of entertainment rather than respect. The ship entered the field. Its sensors immediately overwhelmed by the number of objects. Thousands of asteroids of various sizes filled the space ahead of them. Beginning gravity field generation, Maria reported. Power levels at 60% and rising. The ship's unusual hybrid power core began to hum as it distributed energy to the gravity generators. Unlike pure alien technology or pure human engineering, the Defender's systems were a mix that sometimes worked in unexpected ways. Gravitational field online, Bill announced. Strength at maximum safe levels. Jake watched the asteroids ahead of them. Slowly, the smaller ones began to move, pulled by the artificial gravity field surrounding the ship. It's working, Rachel said with amazement. The asteroids are moving. But then disaster struck. A large asteroid, bigger than the others, was pulled toward the ship faster than expected. Its trajectory would take it directly into the Defender's engine section. Evasive maneuvers. Jake shouted Rachel through the ship to the left, but not fast enough. The asteroid clipped the ship's port side, causing sparks to fly from damaged systems. Damage report, Jake called out. Minor hull breach on Deck 3, Bill reported. Gravity generators are fluctuating but still functional. Despite the damage, the ship continued its work. The gravity field pushed most of the asteroids into a new orbit, clearing the path through the field. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than anyone expected. When they emerged from the asteroid field, the Defender's hull showed signs of the encounter. Scratches and dents covered parts of the ship, but it was still flying. The alien representatives on the station were silent for a moment. They had expected the humans to fail completely, not to succeed partially while taking damage. Counselor? Vrax's voice came over the Earth vessel. You have managed to alter the asteroid field somewhat. However, it is still not completely cleared. Your performance confirms our assessment that you are not ready for membership. Jake felt anger building inside him, but he kept his voice calm. Counselor, we completed the task under difficult circumstances. Our ship took damage, yet we still succeeded where many would have failed. You succeeded poorly, the reptilian alien sneered. A real member world would have cleared the field perfectly without taking damage. As they prepared to leave the station, Jake made one final attempt. Counselor, we came here in peace, seeking membership based on merit, not prejudice. Perhaps one day you'll realize that being different doesn't mean being inferior. The screen went dark as the aliens cut the communication link. Jake looked around at his crew, seeing the disappointment in their faces. Set course for Earth, he told Rachel. We're going home. As the Defender pulled away from the station, Lisa put a hand on Jake's shoulder. We did our best. I know, Jake replied, but best wasn't good enough for them. The USS Defender moved through space on its journey back to Earth. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past the viewports. His crew was quiet, still feeling the sting of rejection from the Galactic Council. The mission had been a complete failure, and everyone knew it. Ambassador Lisa Grant sat in her chair, reviewing the notes from the meeting. The alien representatives had been cruel in their dismissal of humanity. She kept replaying their mocking words in her mind, trying to figure out what they could have done differently. Captain, called out Lieutenant Danny Kim from the communications station, I'm picking up some unusual energy readings from the galactic core. Jake moved to the sensor display. The readings were strange, unlike anything in the ship's database. How strange. Dr. Maria Santos looked over from her science station. Very strange, sir. The energy patterns don't match any known phenomena. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. Lieutenant Commander Bill Hayes studied the tactical display. Could be a natural occurrence. Space is full of weird energy events. Maybe, Jake said, but something in his gut told him this was different. Maria, can you get a better reading? I'm trying, but the signals are intermittent. They come and go like ... like breathing. Rachel, at the helm, adjusted their course slightly. Whatever it is, it seems to be getting stronger. Jake made a decision. Change course. Let's head toward the source of those readings. I want to get a better look. Sir. Lisa looked up from her notes. Shouldn't we be going home? Earth Command. We'll want a full report. I know, but something's not right here. Those energy patterns. They're too regular to be natural. As the Defender changed course, the strange readings grew stronger. The ship's sensors showed massive energy fluctuations coming from the direction of the galactic center. Whatever was happening out there, it was big, Captain, Maria said, with concern in her voice. I'm reading massive gravitational distortions. It's like space itself is being twisted. Bill checked his tactical displays. Whatever's causing this, it's huge. The gravitational effects are being felt across dozens of star systems. Danny worked his communications equipment frantically. Sir, I'm trying to contact the Zephyrian station, but I'm not getting through. It's like something is blocking our signals. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Keep trying. We need to warn them about whatever's out there. Hours passed as the Defender moved deeper into the affected area. The energy readings continued to grow stronger, and now they could see visual distortions in space itself. Stars seemed to bend and twist as if viewed through thick glass. Captain, Rachel said nervously, our navigation systems are having trouble plotting a course. The space-time distortions are making it difficult to get accurate readings. Maria studied her instruments with growing alarm. Captain, I think we should leave this area. Whatever's causing these distortions is getting closer, and I don't think we want to be anywhere near it when it arrives. Jake was about to agree when Danny's voice cut through the tension. "Sir, I'm getting a transmission from Zephyria Station." The main screen activated, showing Counselor Vrax's scaly face. But something was wrong. The usually composed alien looked worried, even frightened. "Earth vessel," Vrax said quickly. "What is your position?" "We're investigating the energy disturbances near the galactic core," Jake replied. "What's happening?" "The disturbances are not natural," Vrax said, and for the first time, Jake heard fear in the alien's voice. "They're coming from something that consumes entire star systems. We thought your warnings were nonsense, but now, consumes star systems." Lisa stood up, moving closer to the screen. "Yes," Vrax continued, his many eyes darting around nervously. "Systems along the galactic rim have simply disappeared. No explosions, no debris, just gone. The stars vanish, the planets vanish, everything just ceases to exist." Jake felt cold. How many systems? 27 so far, and the pattern is spreading. "The energy signatures you detected were the first signs of its approach." Bill leaned forward. "What does it look like?" "We don't know. Our deep space telescopes show nothing but empty space where the systems used to be. But the energy readings, they're unlike anything in our records." Maria checked her sensors again. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures moving toward the outer rim. Whatever this thing is, it's heading straight for populated space." Jake made another decision. "Counselor, we're sending you our sensor data. You need to evacuate the outer colonies immediately." Vrax laughed bitterly. "Evacuate? With what? Our fastest ships would take months to reach the outer systems. By then, it will be too late." Lisa stepped forward. "Counselor, you dismissed us earlier, but now you need to listen. Earth may not be advanced, but we might have ideas you haven't considered." "We don't have time for human arrogance," snapped the reptilian alien who had mocked them during the council meeting. His face appeared on a secondary screen, still showing the same disdain despite the crisis. "This isn't about arrogance," Jake said firmly. "It's about survival. All of us." Counselor Vrax looked at Jake with something that might have been respect. "Captain Morrison, your concern is noted, but we will handle this in our own way." "Your own way got us kicked out of your council," Jake replied. "Maybe it's time to try something different." The communication cut off abruptly. Jake looked at his crew. "Set course back to Earth. We need to warn our government about what's coming." "Sir," Danny said hesitantly, "I'm not sure we can reach Earth. The space-time distortions are getting worse. Our faster-than-light drives are having trouble functioning properly." Rachel checked her navigation systems. "He's right, Captain. It's like space itself is becoming unstable." Maria's voice was tight with worry. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures approaching our position. Whatever's causing the disturbances is getting closer." On the main screen, the stars ahead of them began to flicker and dim. It was subtle at first, but soon entire sections of space seemed to go dark, as if someone was turning off lights in a vast cosmic theater. "My God," Lisa whispered. They weren't exaggerating. "The stars are just disappearing." Bill's tactical displays showed the impossible. Star systems that had been there moments before simply vanished from existence. No explosion, no warning. "Just gone. Battle stations," Jake ordered, though he wasn't sure what they could do against something that erased entire star systems. The crew moved to their positions, but their faces showed fear rather than determination. "How do you fight an enemy that can make stars disappear?" "Captain," Maria said urgently, "I'm reading massive energy approaching from multiple vectors. Whatever this thing is, it's not coming from just one direction." Danny worked his communications equipment desperately. "Sir, I'm trying to contact Earth, but I can't get through. It's like something is blocking all communications." Rachel looked up from her helm controls. "Captain, our engines are having trouble." The space-time distortions are interfering with our power systems. Jake watched as more stars vanished from the view screen. The darkness was spreading, and they were right in its path. Counselor Vrax, he said suddenly. Try contacting him again. We need to work together on this. Denny tried the communication systems again, but all he got was static. Nothing, sir. It's like Sephoria Station, just ... vanished. The truth hit them all at once. The Galactic Council's headquarters, with all its advanced technology and millions of inhabitants, had been consumed by whatever was spreading through the galaxy. We need to get out of here, Bill said, his usual confidence replaced by fear. Jake nodded, but he knew. Their options were limited. The Defender was caught in the middle of something that could erase entire civilizations, and their ship was barely capable of interstellar travel under normal conditions. Maria, he said, is there any way to predict where this thing will strike next? She studied her sensors for a long moment. Based on the pattern, it's moving toward the densely populated regions of the galaxy. The outer rim systems were just the beginning. Lisa sat down heavily. How long do we have? Hours, maybe days, Maria replied. It depends on how fast it's moving. Jake looked at his crew, seeing the fear in their eyes, but also something else, determination. They had been dismissed and mocked by the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. But now those same civilizations were facing extinction. We're going home, he said finally. We'll warn Earth, and we'll prepare for whatever comes next. The galaxy scoffed at us once, but maybe that's exactly what gives us an advantage. As the Defender turned toward Earth, the darkness continued to spread behind them. Stars winked out one by one, and the crew realized they might be among the last witnesses to the galaxy as it had existed for millions of years. Whatever was coming, humanity would face it not as the galaxy's laughingstock, but as its last hope. The USS Defender raced toward Earth, but the journey felt different now. The crew had seen something that changed everything. Stars were vanishing from the galaxy, entire systems disappearing without warning or explanation. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching his crew work with new urgency. Dr. Maria Santos studied her sensors with growing concern. Captain, the energy disturbances are spreading faster than we thought. At this rate, Earth will be affected within days. Lieutenant Danny Kim worked his communications equipment frantically. Sir, I'm still trying to contact Earth Command, but I'm getting nothing but static. It's like something is blocking all our signals. Ambassador Lisa Grant looked up from the tactical displays. How many systems have been lost? 43 confirmed. Disappearances, Bill Hayes reported from his weapons station. And that's just what we can detect from our current position. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They were carrying news that could change everything for humanity, but they couldn't even reach Earth to deliver it. Rachel, he called to the helmsman, how much longer until we reach Earth? 6 hours at maximum speed, Captain. But our engines are struggling with these space-time distortions. I'm not sure we can maintain this velocity much longer. As if to prove her point, the ship shuddered slightly. Warning lights flashed on several control panels. Engine room to bridge, came the voice of Chief Engineer Mike Torres, over the comm. We're having problems with the power distribution system. The distortions are interfering with our hybrid core. Jake pressed the communication button. How bad is it, Mike? Bad enough that we might not make it home, Captain. The alien components in our power system aren't handling the distortions well. We're looking at partial system failures if this continues. Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They were scared, but they were still working. That meant something. Keep us on course, he ordered. We have to reach Earth. Hours passed as the Defender pushed toward the Sol system. The crew worked in tense silence, each lost in their own thoughts about what they had witnessed. The galaxy's greatest civilizations had been reduced to nothing in moments, and now Earth faced the same fate. Captain, Maria said suddenly, her voice tight with fear. "I'm reading something approaching our position. It's not a ship or any known spacecraft." Jake moved to her station. "What is it?" "I don't know. The energy readings are ... wrong. They don't match anything in our databases. It's like space itself is being torn apart." On the main screen, the stars ahead of them began to flicker. Not the dramatic vanishing they had witnessed before, but a subtle distortion, as if reality was becoming unstable. "Battle stations," Jake ordered, though he wasn't sure what they could do against something that erased stars. The crew moved to their positions, but their faces showed uncertainty rather than readiness. "How do you fight an enemy you can't even understand?" "Sir," Danny said urgently, "I'm picking up distress signals from several ships. They're all talking about the same thing, reality breaking down around them." Lisa listened to the chaotic voices coming through the communications array. "They're panicking. Whatever's happening, it's affecting more than just the stars." Bill checked his weapons displays. "Our targeting systems are going crazy. I can't get a lock on anything." The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Lights flickered throughout the vessel, and several stations went dark before backup. Power kicked in. "Engineering to bridge." Mike's voice came through the comm, sounding worried. "We're losing power to sections 3 and 4. The distortions are getting stronger." Jake felt helpless. His ship was falling apart around him, while something unimaginable approached. "How long can you keep us running?" "Maybe an hour. Maybe less, Captain. We need to find some way to shield ourselves from these effects." Maria looked up from her sensors suddenly. "Wait, I'm reading something else. There are ships out there, lots of them. They're all moving toward the galactic core." On screen, Jake ordered. The main display showed dozens of alien vessels, all different designs and sizes, fleeing toward the center of the galaxy. They moved in desperate groups, trying to escape whatever was consuming the outer regions. "Those are refugee ships," Lisa said quietly. "The survivors are running for the center, hoping it's safer there." "But is it?" Jake asked. "If this thing is spreading from the core outward, the center might be the worst place to be." As they watched, several of the fleeing ships simply vanished, just like the stars had. One moment they were there, the next they were gone without a trace. "Oh my God," Rachel whispered from the helm. "It's eating them too." The truth was undeniable now. Whatever was spreading through the galaxy wasn't just destroying star systems, it was consuming everything in its path, including ships trying to escape. "Captain," Maria said urgently, "I'm reading massive energy signatures converging on our position. Multiple sources, all moving fast. On the sensors, dozens of small contacts appeared, moving toward them at high speed. But these weren't ships. They were life pods, escape shuttles, and other small craft, all fleeing the same doom." "They're refugees," Danny said, his voice filled with compassion. "People trying to escape whatever's destroying their worlds." Jake made a quick decision. "Open a communication channel. Tell them to form up behind us. We'll try to escort them to safety." "Sir," Bill protested, "we can barely keep ourselves together." "How are we supposed to protect a fleet of refugees?" "We have to try," Jake replied firmly. "Those people have lost everything. We can't just abandon them." As the small craft formed up behind the Defender, Jake realized they were now leading the galaxy's first refugee convoy. The irony wasn't lost on him. The species that had been laughed out of the Galactic Council was now responsible for saving its survivors. "Captain," Maria said with alarm, "the main energy source is getting closer. Whatever's causing all this, it's almost here." The stars ahead of them began to flicker more violently. The distortion effect spread across the view screen like cracks in glass. "Sir," Rachel said urgently, "our navigation systems are completely confused. I can't tell which way is which anymore." The ship lurched as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Several crew members grabbed for support as the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. "Everyone hold on," Jake shouted over the noise of failing systems. Through the chaos, Danny's voice cut through. Captain, I'm getting through to Earth. It's faint, but I've got contact with command. On screen, Jake ordered. The face of Admiral Patricia Wells appeared, though the image was distorted and breaking up. Defender, this is Earth Command. Report your status immediately. Admiral, this is Captain Morrison. We're bringing critical intelligence about a galaxy-wide threat. Stars and entire systems are disappearing from existence. Something is consuming the galaxy from the outside in. Admiral Wells looked skeptical. Captain, you're breaking up badly. Can you repeat that? Before Jake could respond, the communication cut out entirely. The distortions were getting worse, making long-range communication impossible. Sir, Maria said urgently, I'm reading multiple energy sources converging on our position. They're not from the thing that's destroying everything. These are ... different. Jake studied her readings. Different how? They're organized, purposeful. Whatever's coming, it's not running away like the others. The main screen showed several large ships approaching from different directions. Unlike the refugee vessels, these moved with military precision. Identification? Jake asked. I'm getting Federation transponder codes, Danny reported. Those are Cathari warships. The Cathari were one of the galaxy's major military powers, known for their advanced technology and strict warrior culture. If they were here, it meant the threat was serious enough to warrant their attention. Opening communication channel, Danny announced. The screen showed the bridge of a Cathari vessel, dominated by the imposing figure of Commander Vex. The alien was tall and muscular, with purple skin and bright yellow eyes that showed no fear despite the crisis. Human vessel Vextal's voice boomed through the speakers. This is Commander Vextal of the Cathari Defense Fleet. You are in a restricted zone. State your purpose. Jake straightened. Commander, I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Defender. We're evacuating refugees from the affected areas and attempting to reach Earth with critical intelligence about the threat. Vextal's expression showed surprise. Critical intelligence. Speak quickly, human. We have little time. Stars and entire systems are disappearing from existence. Something is consuming the galaxy, and it's spreading toward the core. The Galactic Council is gone, along with dozens of member worlds. The Cathari commander's eyes narrowed. Proof. Maria quickly sent over sensor data and images from their journey. Vextal studied the information for a long moment, his expression growing darker. This is troubling, he admitted finally. Our own sensors have detected anomalies, but we thought they were natural phenomena. Commander, Jake said urgently, whatever this is, it's not natural. It's intelligent, and it's hunting. You need to evacuate your people. The USS Defender approached Earth's orbit, but the planet below looked different. The skies were filled with ships, human ships, fleets of military vessels, civilian transports, and even hastily converted cargo ships crowded the atmosphere. It was chaos, but it wasn't panic. Earth had mobilized. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching as his crew worked to establish contact with Earth Command. The ship's sensors showed that the distortions in space-time were growing, stronger, even here. Whatever was consuming the galaxy was close now, closer than anyone wanted to admit. Sir, Lieutenant Danny Kim said, I've got a channel open with Admiral Wells. The main screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Patricia Wells. Her face was grim, but her voice was steady. Captain Morrison, report. Jake saluted quickly. Admiral, we bring critical intelligence. Stars are vanishing across the galaxy, entire systems erased without warning. The Galactic Council is gone, along with dozens of advanced civilizations. Something is spreading toward Earth, and it's not stopping. Admiral Wells didn't look surprised. We've been monitoring unusual energy readings for hours. Governments worldwide are preparing evacuation protocols, but she hesitated. But there's nowhere to go. Every colony we have is too far away to reach in time. Ambassador Lisa Grant stepped forward. Admiral, we encountered refugee ships. Entire populations are fleeing inward, toward the galactic core. But based on what we've seen, the core might be the worst place to run. Wells nodded. We're aware. That's why we're fortifying Earth. We can't run, so we'll fight. Jake felt a chill. Humanity had always been fighters, but this was something else entirely. How do you fight an enemy that erases stars? Admiral, Dr. Maria Santos spoke up from her science station. We've detected signs of survivors among the vanished systems. Not everyone is destroyed immediately. Some ships are altered before they vanish. Wells frowned. Altered. What does that mean? Maria hesitated. It's hard to explain. Their energy signatures change, like they're being absorbed or transformed. I think whatever is doing this isn't just destroying, it's consuming. The Admiral's jaw tightened. Understood. Captain, you've brought back valuable information. Prepare your crew for reassignment. We'll need every hand we can get. Before Jake could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. The ship shuddered violently, throwing several crew members off balance. Report. Jake shouted. Rachel, gripping her helm controls tightly, called out, space-time distortions are spiking. Something's entering our sector. On the view screen, the stars ahead of them began to dim, one by one. The same phenomenon they had witnessed near the galactic rim was happening here, right in Earth's backyard. Admiral, Jake said urgently, it's here. Whatever this thing is, it's arrived. The transmission cut out as the Defender systems struggled to cope with the growing instability. The crew scrambled to stabilize the ship, but the distortions were overwhelming. Captain, Maria said, her voice shaking, the energy signatures match what we saw earlier. This isn't random, it's targeting us. Bill Hayes turned from his weapons console. Sir, I'm reading multiple contacts moving toward us. They're alien ships, but they're damaged. Badly. Jake studied the tactical display. Dozens of ships, some recognizable, others completely foreign, were approaching Earth. These weren't attackers. They were refugees, battered and broken, fleeing the void that pursued them. Open a channel, Jake ordered. Tell them to form up behind us. We'll guide them into Earth's defensive perimeter. Danny nodded and began broadcasting. This is the USS Defender. Follow our trajectory. Earth has prepared defenses. You'll be safe here. The response came almost immediately, a cacophony of voices speaking in dozens of languages, all pleading for help. Through the universal translator, their desperation was clear. Save us. Don't let it take us. Please. Jake clenched his fists. He had never felt so powerless. The Defender wasn't designed for rescue missions, but it was all they had. Rachel, adjust course to intercept the lead ships. Maria, monitor their energy signatures. If any of them start to change, warn me immediately. As the Defender moved to meet the incoming fleet, the first of the alien ships appeared on the view screen. It was a Cathari cruiser, its sleek design marred by jagged scars and dark burn marks. Behind it came smaller vessels, merchant ships, scout craft, even escape pods, all fleeing the same doom. Commander Vextal's voice crackled over the comm. Human vessel, this is Commander Vextal. Your planet offers sanctuary. Jake replied firmly. Earth stands ready to defend all who seek refuge. Form up behind us and follow our lead. Vextal hesitated, then gave a curt nod. Acknowledged. We will comply. The alien ships fell into formation behind the Defender, their engines sputtering, but still functional. For a moment, Jake allowed himself to feel a sliver of hope. Maybe humanity could make a difference after all, but the hope was short-lived. On the view screen, the stars continued to vanish, one by one. The void was closing. Captain, Maria said urgently, I'm detecting massive energy fluctuations ahead. It's not just the stars disappearing anymore. Space itself is collapsing. Jake watched as the distortion spread across the screen, a wave of darkness swallowing everything in its path. How long until it reaches us? Minutes, Maria replied. Maybe less. The crew worked frantically, trying to stabilize the ship and prepare for the inevitable. But nothing could stop the void. It was relentless, unstoppable. Sir, Bill called. Out. The alien ships are breaking formation. They're scattering. Jake cursed under his breath. They're panicking. Danny, tell them to hold position. Earth's defenses can protect them. But the refugees weren't listening. Ships veered off in every direction, some heading straight for Earth, others fleeing deeper into space. And then, one by one, they began to vanish. It's happening again, Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. They're being consumed. The Defender's sensors picked up the same energy spikes Maria had described earlier. The ships didn't explode or disintegrate, they simply ceased to exist, their energy signatures absorbed into the void. Captain, Rachel said, her voice tight with fear. We're next. Jake gripped the railing, his mind racing. There had to be a way to fight back, to slow the void's advance. But how? Humanity's technology was primitive compared to the galaxy's greatest civilizations, and even they had fallen. Then he remembered something Commander Vextel had said during their earlier encounter. You humans are not as primitive as we believed. Maybe Earth's perceived weakness was actually its strength. Maybe the chaos and unpredictability of human ingenuity could give them an edge. Maria, Jake said suddenly, what happens if we overload our hybrid power core? Can we create a feedback loop strong enough to disrupt the void's energy field? Maria stared at him, wide-eyed. Captain, that could destroy the ship and everyone on it. We don't have a choice, Jake replied. If we don't try, we're dead anyway. Everyone on Earth is dead. Lisa stepped forward. Jake, there has to be another way. There isn't, he said firmly. Maria, calculate the necessary power levels. Bill, prepare the weapon systems to channel the excess energy. Rachel, plot a course directly into the heart of the distortion. The crew hesitated, but only for a moment. Then they sprang into action, working together with a shared determination. They were scared, but they trusted their captain. Captain, Maria said, her voice calm despite the situation. If we do this, it might buy Earth some time, but it won't stop the void permanently. No, Jake replied, but sometimes buying time is enough. As the Defender moved toward the distortion, the void seemed to react. The darkness pulsed, as if aware of their approach. Stars flickered and died around them, and the ship's systems screamed in protest. Energy levels at 80%, Bill reported. Weapon systems online and ready. Course plotted, Rachel added. We're locked in. Jake took a deep breath. Engage. The Defender surged forward, its engines roaring, as it pushed into the heart of the distortion. The crew braced themselves as the ship shook violently, its hull groaning under the strain. Energy levels at 90%, Maria called out. Feedback loop stabilizing. On the view screen, the void seemed to writhe, its darkness twisting and turning like a living thing. For a moment, it felt like they were staring into the abyss and the abyss was staring back. 100%. Maria shouted. Feedback loop complete. Fire, Jake ordered. The Defender unleashed a burst of energy unlike anything it had ever produced. The hybrid power core, designed to combine human innovation with alien technology, created a surge of chaotic energy that clashed with the void's orderly destruction. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the distortion began to weaken. The darkness receded, retreating like a tide pulling back from the shore. We did it, Lisa whispered, tears streaming down her face. But Jake knew better. It's not over, he said grimly. We've only slowed it down. The crew watched as the void stabilized. Its advance temporarily halted. The stars stopped vanishing, and the alien ships that remained began to regroup. Admiral Wells, Jake said into the com. "We've bought you some time. Use it wisely." The Defender limped back toward Earth, its systems barely functioning. The crew was exhausted, but alive. They had faced the galaxy's greatest threat, and survived not through superior technology or advanced tactics, but through sheer determination and ingenuity. The USS Defender landed on Earth's surface, its battered hull groaning as it touched down at a military spaceport. The crew disembarked slowly, their faces showing exhaustion but also pride. They had faced the galaxy's greatest threat and survived, even if only temporarily. Captain Jake Morrison stepped off the ship last, looking around at the chaos unfolding around him. The spaceport was crowded with people, scientists, soldiers, engineers, and civilians, all working together in a desperate effort to prepare for the next wave of destruction. Humanity had never been so united, and yet the fear in everyone's eyes was impossible to ignore. Ambassador Lisa Grant walked beside Jake as they were escorted to a command center. "Do you think we really bought them enough time?" she asked quietly. Jake shook his head. "I don't know. But we did what we could. Now it's up to Earth to figure out the rest." Inside the command center, Admiral Patricia Wells stood over a large holographic map of Earth's defensive perimeter. Around her, officers and scientists worked frantically, analyzing data and coordinating resources. When she saw Jake and Lisa enter, she turned to greet them. "Captain," she said, her voice firm but tinged with relief. "You've done more than anyone expected. Your actions gave us critical information and time." Jake nodded. "Admiral, we need to talk about what happened out there. That thing isn't just destroying, it's consuming. If we can understand how it works, maybe we can find a way to stop it." Wells gestured to a nearby table, where Dr. Maria Santos was already setting up her equipment. "Dr. Santos has been briefing us on your findings. We're assembling a team of our best minds to study the data." Maria looked up from her work. "The energy patterns suggest that whatever this is, it feeds on order and structure. It targets planets, ships that follow predictable patterns. Chaos disrupts it, which is why the hybrid power core of the Defender had an effect." Jake frowned. "So, being unpredictable might be our best weapon." "Possibly," Maria replied. "But we need more data to confirm that." Before they could continue, alarms blared throughout the command center. A young officer shouted, "Incoming transmission. It's Commander Vextel." The main screen flickered to life, showing the Cathari commander's stern face. Behind him, the bridge of his damaged cruiser was filled with smoke and sparks. His yellow eyes glowed with urgency. "Human leaders," Vextel began without preamble, "we are requesting sanctuary. Our fleet has been decimated, and what remains cannot withstand another encounter with the void." Jake stepped forward. "Commander, Earth will honor its promise. You and your people are welcome here." Vextel hesitated, clearly unused to accepting help from humans. "Your generosity is noted, but know this the void is relentless. Even now, it spreads toward your world. You may not survive its arrival. We'll take our chances," Jake replied firmly. "Earth doesn't turn away those in need." The Cathari commander nodded curtly. "We will land shortly. Prepare for our arrival." As the transmission ended, Admiral Wells turned to Jake. "This changes things. If we're taking in refugees, we'll need to expand our defenses. And fast." Lisa spoke up. "Admiral, these refugees might have valuable knowledge. Their technology could help us fight back." Wells considered this for a moment. "Agreed. Captain Morrison, I want you to oversee integration efforts. Work with the aliens to see what we can learn from them." Jake nodded. "Understood, Admiral." Hours later, Jake found himself standing on a wide tarmac as Cathari ships descended from the sky. Dozens of vessels landed in formation, their sleek designs contrasting sharply with Earth's crude military craft. As the ramps lowered, alien survivors poured out, soldiers, engineers, medics. and civilians all carrying the weight of unimaginable loss. Commander Vextel was among the first to disembark. He approached Jake with measured steps, his expression unreadable. "Captain Morrison, I trust your planet is prepared for such an influx." "As ready as we can be," Jake replied. "We've set up temporary shelters and medical facilities. Your people will be safe here." Vextal studied him for a long moment. "Safe, perhaps. But for how long? The void will not stop until everything is consumed." "That's why we need your help," Jake said. "Your technology, your experience, they could give us an edge." The Cathari commander seemed to consider this. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. We will share what we know. But understand this. Humanity's survival depends on more than borrowed knowledge. You must adapt or perish." Over the next few days, Earth transformed into a hive of activity. Human and alien engineers worked side by side, combining technologies in ways no one had thought possible. The Cathari brought advanced shielding systems, while Earth's scientists contributed innovative solutions born from necessity in the command center. Dr. Maria Santos led a team of researchers analyzing data from both human and alien sources. "If we combine the Cathari shield generators with our chaotic energy output," she explained to Jake, "we might create something that confuses the void long enough for us to strike back." Bill Hayes, the weapons officer, chimed in. "And if we modify our mining lasers to emit bursts of unstable energy, we could disrupt its patterns further." Jake felt a spark of hope. For the first time since the crisis began, they had a plan not just to survive, but to fight back. Meanwhile, Lisa worked tirelessly to coordinate efforts between humans and aliens. Language barriers and cultural differences made communication difficult, but she persevered. Slowly, trust began to form between the two groups. One evening, as Jake walked through the bustling camp, he noticed a group of Cathari engineers gathered around a makeshift workstation. Among them was Lieutenant Commander Bill Hayes, gesturing animatedly as he explained something. The aliens listened intently, occasionally nodding or asking questions. Jake smiled to himself. Humanity had always been resourceful, but now they were proving themselves adaptable too. Maybe that was their real strength, not brute force or advanced technology, but the ability to improvise and overcome. Later that night, Jake met with Admiral Wells in her office. She looked tired, dark circles under her eyes, but her resolve was unwavering. "Captain, we've received reports of more refugee ships heading toward Earth. Entire populations are fleeing inward, hoping to find safety here." "How many?" Jake asked. "Thousands," Wells replied grimly. "Maybe more. We'll do what we can, but our resources are stretched thin." Jake nodded. "We'll make it work. Every life matters." Wells leaned back in her chair, studying him. "You've changed, Captain. When you left for Zephyria, you were angry, humiliated by the Galactic Council's rejection. Now, you're leading humanity's fight for survival." "I didn't choose this," Jake admitted. "But if Earth's going to stand a chance, someone has to step up." Wells smiled faintly. "You're doing more than stepping up, Captain. You're showing the galaxy what humanity is made of." As the days passed, Earth's defenses grew stronger. The combination of human ingenuity and alien technology created new possibilities. Shielding systems were installed around key cities, and experimental weapons were tested in orbit. But the void wasn't idle. Its energy signatures continued to approach Earth, growing stronger with each passing hour. The distortions in space-time became more frequent, affecting communications and navigation. One morning, Jake received an urgent call from Maria. "Captain, I've detected something unusual. The void's energy patterns are shifting. It's adapting." Jake's heart sank. "Adapting to what?" "To us," Maria replied. "Our chaotic energy output disrupted it before, but now it's learning. If we don't act soon, It will bypass our defenses entirely. Jake knew what this meant. Their window of opportunity was closing. Humanity would have to face the void head-on this time. There would be no second chances. He called a meeting with Admiral Wells, Lisa, and the senior staff. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "the void is coming, and it's smarter than ever. We need to hit it with everything we've got, our ships, our weapons, our combined knowledge. This isn't just about saving Earth anymore. It's about proving that even the smallest voices can make a difference." Lisa looked at him, her eyes filled with determination. "Then let's show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the gravity of the situation. They were scared, but they were ready. Together, they would face the void not as victims, but as fighters. Because sometimes, being laughed at was the best advantage of all. The USS Defender sat in a dry dock, surrounded by engineers and technicians who worked tirelessly to repair the damaged ship. Captain Jake Morrison stood nearby, watching as human and Kethari teams collaborated on installing new shielding systems. The hybrid technology was unlike anything Earth had ever seen, part alien precision, part human improvisation. Dr. Maria Santos approached him, holding a tablet filled with data. "Captain, we've finished integrating the Kethari shield generators with our chaotic energy output. Initial tests show promising results." Jake nodded. "Good. We'll need every advantage we can get." Maria hesitated before continuing. "There's something else. While analyzing the void's energy patterns, I noticed anomalies. It's not just consuming stars and ships, it's learning from them." Jake frowned. "Learning how?" "It's adapting," Maria explained. "Every time it encounters resistance like the feedback loop we created, it adjusts its approach. It's becoming more efficient, more dangerous." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "So, we're running out of time." Maria nodded grimly. "Yes. If we don't act soon, it will bypass our defenses entirely." In the command center, Admiral Patricia Wells addressed a gathering of human and alien leaders. Commander Vextel stood beside her, his imposing figure drawing attention from everyone in the room. On the walls, holographic displays showed Earth's defensive perimeter and the approaching energy signatures of the void. "Listen carefully," Wells began, her voice firm. "The void is no longer just a threat to Earth, it's a threat to all life. We must stand together or fall apart." Vextal stepped forward, his yellow eyes glowing faintly. "Humanity has shown courage beyond expectation, but courage alone will not save us. We must use everything at our disposal." Ambassador Lisa Grant spoke next. "We've learned that the void feeds on order and structure. Our chaotic energy disrupts it, but only temporarily. To stop it permanently, we need to strike at its core." Jake stepped up to the table, pointing at the holographic map. "Here's the plan. We'll divide our forces into 3 groups. Group 1 will deploy decoy ships equipped with unstable energy emitters to confuse the void. Group 2 will establish a defensive line using the new shield technology. Group 3, the USS Defender, will lead a direct assault on the voids." Central mass. Murmurs spread through the room. The plan was risky, almost suicidal. But no one offered an alternative. Admiral Wells looked at Jake. "You understand what this means, Captain. If you fail, Earth will be defenseless." "I understand," Jake replied. "But if we don't try, we're already lost." Preparations moved quickly. Human and Kethari engineers worked around the clock to outfit the fleet with experimental weapons and shielding systems. Refugees from other species contributed their knowledge, offering insights into ancient technologies and forgotten strategies. Lieutenant Danny Kim monitored communications between Earth and the scattered refugee fleets. "Sir," he reported to Jake, "several ships are volunteering for the decoy mission. They know the risks, but they want to help." Jake felt a pang of guilt. These people had already lost so much, yet they were willing to sacrifice even more. "Tell them thank you," he said quietly. and make sure their families are taken care of. As the hours passed, the tension grew palpable. Soldiers checked their gear, engineers double-checked their modifications, and civilians prepared shelters, in case the worst happened. Everyone knew that the coming battle would decide the fate of Earth and, possibly the galaxy. On the eve of the assault, Jake gathered his senior staff in the Defender's briefing room. Ambassador Lisa Grant, Dr. Maria Santos, Lieutenant Commander Bill Hayes, and Chief Engineer Mike Torres sat around the table, their faces reflecting both determination and fear. "We've done everything we can," Jake began. "Tomorrow, we face the void. No matter what happens, remember why we're doing this, not just for Earth, but for everyone who's ever been dismissed, underestimated, or laughed at." Lisa smiled faintly. "Sometimes being the underdog gives you the freedom to take risks others won't." Bill leaned forward. "And sometimes it gives you the guts to win when everyone says you can't." Jake nodded. "Exactly. Now, let's go over the plan one last time." The next morning, the fleet assembled in orbit above Earth. Hundreds of ships, human, Cathari, and others formed a massive armada. Decoy vessels positioned themselves at the front, their unstable energy emitters ready to broadcast chaotic signals. Behind them, shielded warships formed a defensive line, preparing to hold back the void's advance. At the center of it all, the USS Defender stood ready to lead the final charge. Jake stood on the bridge, looking out at the assembled fleet. His crew worked silently, each focused on their tasks. Rachel manned the helm, her hands steady on the controls. Danny monitored communications, ensuring coordination between all units. Maria kept a close eye on the sensors, tracking the void's movements. "Captain," Maria said suddenly, "the void is accelerating. It's heading straight for us." Jake took a deep breath. "Signal the fleet. Execute Phase 1. The decoy ships surged forward, broadcasting bursts of chaotic energy. The void reacted immediately, its dark tendrils lashing out toward the nearest targets. Stars flickered and dimmed as the distortion spread, but the decoys held their ground, buying precious seconds for the rest of the fleet. "Phase 2, Jake ordered. Bring up the shields." The shielded warships moved into position, forming a wall of light and energy. The void slammed against the barrier, its dark mass writhing in frustration. For a moment, the defense held. "Now," Jake shouted. "Phase 3. Engage the void." The USS Defender surged forward, its engines roaring as it pushed through the chaos. Behind it, a small squadron of Cathari cruisers followed, their advanced weapons firing bursts of concentrated energy. "Energy levels at maximum," Maria reported. "Hybrid power core stable for now." Bill adjusted the targeting systems. Weapons online. Mining lasers modified to emit unstable energy bursts. Jake gripped the railing as the Defender entered the heart of the void. The darkness pulsed around them, threatening to swallow the ship whole. Warning lights flashed across the bridge, and alarms blared. "Hold steady," Jake commanded. "Maria, focus all power on the feedback loop." "Bill, prepare to fire on my mark." The crew worked frantically, their movements precise, despite the chaos surrounding them. The void seemed alive, its tendrils reaching out to crush the intruders. "Feedback loop at 90%, Maria called out. 100%, now, Bill," Jake ordered. The Defender unleashed a torrent of chaotic energy, combined with the Cathari's precision firepower. The void recoiled, its dark mass twisting and convulsing. For a moment, it seemed like the attack might work, but then the void adapted. Its tendrils shifted, absorbing the energy and redirecting it back at the Defender. "Shields are failing," Rachel shouted. "We can't hold much longer." Jake clenched his fists. "Keep firing. Don't stop." The ship shuddered violently as the void retaliated. Panels sparked, and consoles exploded. The crew braced themselves, refusing to give up. "Captain," Maria said urgently, "I'm detecting a weak point in the void's core." If we concentrate all remaining power there, we might be able to destabilize it. Do it, Jake replied without hesitation. Rachel, plot a collision course. The crew froze. Collision course? Lisa asked, her voice trembling. Jake nodded. It's the only way. The Defender will serve as the final weapon. No, Lisa protested. There has to be another way. There isn't, Jake said firmly. This ship has always been more than just metal and circuits. It's a symbol of what humanity can do when we refuse to give up. If sacrificing the Defender saves Earth, then so be it. The crew exchanged glances, then returned to their stations. They understood. This wasn't just about survival. It was about proving that humanity could stand tall, even in the face of annihilation. Course plotted, Rachel said, her voice steady, despite the tears in her eyes. Impact in 30 seconds. Fire everything we've got, Jake ordered. Make it count. The Defender surged forward, its weapons blazing. The Void's core began to destabilize, cracks appearing in its dark surface. The ship vibrated violently, but the crew held on, determined to see the mission through. 10 seconds, Rachel called out. Jake looked around at his crew, meeting each of their eyes. Thank you, he said simply, for everything. The Defender collided with the Void's core, unleashing a massive explosion of light and energy. The darkness shattered, retreating like a tide pulling back from the shore. The Void was gone, or at least weakened enough for Earth to survive. Back on Earth, the survivors watched as the stars reappeared in the sky. Cheers erupted across the planet as people realized they had won, not completely, but enough to rebuild. Admiral Wells stood on a hill overlooking the spaceport, tears streaming down her face. Beside her, Lisa Grant whispered, "They did it. Against all odds, they did it." The galaxy had scoffed at humanity once. Now, it owed its survival to them. And somewhere, deep in the void of space, the spirit of the USS Defender lived. Anna, reminder that sometimes, the smallest voices roar the loudest.